Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2025-26 season. As always, we are live from Los Angeles. As always, super chats are turned on. If you want to drop $1 or a dime, any donation is appreciated. And of course, you can be a member of the channel. Shout out to my members. You're entitled to a Wednesday weekly live for members only, where I can invite people on the stage. You will also, if you sign up for the membership, at 25 and 50 members, we will be doing a giveaway. And for one for Clipper fans, one for Laker fans. So shout out to my members. You can also get any question you want answered on those lives. And of course, all your comments get read and shown in the chat. And if you're at a Clipper game or any game that I do interviews at, you can skip the line if you're a member. So please keep signing up for the membership. It also is just to help your boy as well. Now, we're live from Los Angeles. Twitter is going to get shut down in 10 minutes. So if you're on the Twitter side of things, it says we have 27 on Twitter, 19 on YouTube. Come to YouTube. I'm trying to get 14,000 subs. So please join me over on YouTube. The link is on my Twitter. But anyway, so we're going to be talking about the Celtics game, the Nuggets game, and the Mavs game today. Obviously, a little bit briefer on those previous two games, because you could also find me breaking down those games on Locked On Clippers. And then I'm going to be talking about the last Laker game I watched, which, Laker fans, I'm sorry. I have been bad. I've been so busy. It's been really hard for me to watch games. But I said, if I don't catch up and watch all these games by game number 20 for the Lakers, then we're just going to forget it. But anyway, let's start out really briefly. So the last live I did talking about the Clippers, or video I did on Dime Dropper, was against the Atlanta Hawks at the game I went to. So I did do a Locked On Clippers post game, but against the Nuggets, we saw some interesting things that changed our season a bit. Now, I went live to talk about Beal getting injured for the season, but it was a pretty good center matchup in that game. You had Zubats in the first half being pretty aggressive against Zoo, which I like to see, because of course we've been pretty critical of Zoo this year, but he was pretty good in that game, at least in the first half. Joker, though, had 55 points in the game, and he was torching us. He had 25 points in the first quarter, which was a career high for him for any quarter. And it was like, at this point with Jokic, he's just ridiculous. Like, pick and pop threat, pick and roll threat, amazing touch around the basket, can post up, and he's unstoppable in the post. Our plan was to kind of give Jokic that pick and pop three with our drop coverage and hope he beats us and nobody else gets going. My goodness. I mean, he beat us all right. It was, at this point, I'm just enjoying the greatness with Jokic, because he's just one of a kind. And to see the career that he's having, and he's like a perennial MVP candidate, it's just insane. He had 55, 12, and 6 to go along with a block and a steal on 18 for 23 shooting, 5 for 6 from 3, and 14 for 16 from the free throw line. He was ridiculous. And it wasn't just Ivica Zubats getting cooked. Like, who's Jokic not cooking? You know what I mean? And a lot of it's pick and roll as well. But here's the interesting thing about that game. Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller actually played rotation minutes. Not Cam Christie, obviously not Chris Paul, but Kobe Sanders and Nico checked in for DJ and Chris Dunn. And we actually played pretty good basketball. After a 10-0 Nuggets run in the first quarter, because we got a little bit cold and they got in transition, Jordan Miller had a buzzer beater to end the first quarter with a bank shot three. And in the second quarter, we saw bogey with Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller, and our ball movement went to another level for some reason. And it's not some reason, it's because Bogey was making it happen. He would like pass to Zoo and then cut off of him, pass, and it was kind of like a relocate for a three. There was more movement in the offense. There was more ball movement. Kobe Sanders was knocking down open threes. And I remember when we went on a 19-2 run, when Bogey and Kobe Sanders were hitting three, when Joker was out of the game, the Nuggets called timeout, and Bogey mouths to Kobe Brown and the young guys, move the ball. So you could see that Bogey was playing with a little intensity. Of course, he's trying to regain his spot back in the rotation. But I thought Jordan Miller was awesome in this game. He had a career high 22 points for us in real rotation minutes against one of the best teams in the NBA. 22 points on 6 for 10 shooting, 5 for 7 from 3, and 5 for 6 on the free throw line. I mean, awesome game from Jordan Miller, knocking down the three ball and also being able to get to the cup a little bit. 26 minutes played for those 22 points. And of course, Kobe Sanders looking like a real player that could potentially get some minutes, actual rotation minutes instead of Chris Paul. But it was just the Jokic show. And I don't know what to say. I mean, at halftime, James Harden had 19 points, and we were shooting 50% from three in the first half and had 28 bench points. And we're actually winning 68-63. But then in the third quarter, we had another third quarter. I don't even want to say collapse, but the Nuggets just hit us with a flurry, with a knockout punch. We saw this against the Golden State Warriors, where in the third quarter, they came out and smacked us in the face. Same thing against the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. Same thing against the Oklahoma City Thunder in LA. And same thing against the Miami Heat. 43-22 in favor of Denver. They were just raining. A 7-0 run to begin the quarter, taking advantage of some of our turnovers. Tim Hardaway Jr. went crazy. James Harden ran out of gas and started turning it over and looking tired and was trying to foul bait. And we didn't post up Zoo enough, honestly. And when he got the ball, he didn't look very aggressive, very assertive. We had 52 points. Jokic had 52 points through three quarters. We tried out putting James Harden on Joker so we could switch and not give him an open shot, and then he was just taking advantage of mismatches. So he was just unstoppable. And then Jamal Murray hit a buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter. So that was it. And then my boy ran onto the court. If you want to hear his story, my boy that I coached when he was a kid ran onto the court. If you want to hear that story, members only video, it's out. He featured on the show. But anyway, we lost that game 130-116. No shame in losing to the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion. John Collins was poor. 2 points on 1 for 6 shooting and 0 for 1 from 3. He had his second straight bad game at that point. Zubats ended with 18 and 9 in that one, but he was okay. I thought he played well in the first half, and then he tailed off. And then Harden had 23, 8, and 5. Didn't turn the ball over too much, only 2 turnovers, but he didn't shoot well. 6 for 15 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Chris Dunn and John Collins both started and combined for 5 points. Nico on the bright side with Brook Lopez combined for 4 for 7 from deep between the two of them. So Nico had 2 threes, Brook Lopez had 2 threes, and Bogey had 11 points and 6 assists. So you started to see that Bogey, as I said, should play instead of Chris Paul. We should not sit both of them. Bogey should play, and I think he proved in that game that he should. And ever since then, he has been getting minutes. So that was our 6th straight loss. And then we finally broke through. And by the way, this is where we're going to end the Twitter portion of this live. So if you're on Twitter, please come to YouTube because I'm going to be talking about these games on YouTube. All right, 40 people in the live right now. Shout out to everybody. Of course, as I said, super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime, you want to give a comment that I read on stage. And also, this is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Okay, let's talk about the Dallas game that broke our streak. And again, I had an episode on Locked On Clippers. If you want another more thorough breakdown on it. But, man, James Harden went crazy. James Harden went crazy. There was no Anthony Davis in this game. And I'll be talking about, you might be wondering, what do you think of the Mavs so far, Dime? I'll be talking about them very shortly in one of those members-only lives. But Anthony Davis, injured. PJ Washington, injured. Of course, Bradley Beal out. Kawhi Leonard still out. And at this point, we hadn't won a game without Kawhi Leonard. We were 3-3 with him. And then at this point, 0-6 without him. 3-2 with him. And then 0-6 without him. So, oh no, I think it was 0-5 without him. Yeah, 0-5. Because he played against Miami. Anyway, so we're playing Dallas. We should win this game, right? You have a lot of great activity early on in the game from DJ and Chris Dunn. Both bigs, Zoo and Derrick Lively in drop coverage. We were up 18-10 early. Everyone was getting in on the act. You had Chris Dunn cutting to the basket for layups. You had Derrick Jones Jr. finishing around the rim. Both guys were very active. Harden led an 8-0 run. You had Zubats changing shots at the rim, which he hasn't really been as much of a rim deterrent, rim protector this season. I don't know what to point that down to. I think point of attack hasn't been as good as well, but he still just doesn't look as lively, as, authoritative at the rim. I don't know if it's, I don't know. But anyway, that was the first quarter. James Harden, and we saw Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller again. So it's looking like they're a consistent part of the rotation at this point, or at least that Ty Lue is trying them after that Denver game. James Harden had 10 points in the first quarter, running things in pick and roll. Derrick Jones Jr. was finishing around the rim, and we were up 27-12 at one point of the first quarter. But then D'Angelo Russell came in and led a 16-3 run with him and Klay Thompson, of all people, who every time I've watched him this season has been broke as fuck, making threes. And then we started turning the ball over, had 5 turnovers in the first quarter. And after one, and this is an NBA Cup game, by the way, after one, we were up 34-31. Then in the second quarter, they started out the quarter well with Klay and Najee Marshall hitting consecutive threes and went up 40-34. But that would be their biggest lead of the game because for the majority of it, besides that, we were in control. The non-James Harden minutes were not great in this game. We just didn't create as much as the last game. Mind you, Dallas is one of the better defensive teams to start this season. Can't say the same about their offense, though. But there was one play in the second quarter that really stuck out to me. Ivica Zubac got the rebound and went coast to coast. I've never seen him do anything like that. I thought that was pretty impressive for Ivica Zubac to go coast to coast like that. And I thought he was just more aggressive in this game in general. After Klay Thompson started hitting threes, we started hedging on the ball screens with him so he wouldn't come off screens wide open for threes. As far as wide open for threes, Chris Dunn, he just missed a good amount. He was left open and really kind of needed those to create separation. Zoo, I thought, looked good again in the first half. I was just hoping that he didn't run out of steam in the second half or just run out of that aggressiveness because you can always tell, having Zoo on the team now for this long, when he's in the I'm a killer mode and when he's just kind of in I'm soft mode. When he's in Ivica Zubac mode and when he's in just I'm a decent role player in this league mode. But anyway, he was in the good mode in the first half of that Dallas game, just like he was in the first half of that Nuggets game. You know who wasn't in God mode, though? John Collins. He was just, I've noticed he's pretty weak with the ball. He doesn't have a very good handle, but he's also just weak with the ball and not the smartest player in the world. So that was just, I don't know, it was another not so great game from John Collins. He basically got benched like the whole second half. He only played 24 minutes in the game. He had 8 points on 3 for 8 shooting, was 0 for 3 from downtown, made both of his free throws, had 3 rebounds and 3 turnovers to go along with his 2 steals. Again, if you're handling the ball, and he also had 5 fouls, but if you're handling the ball as little as he's doing, you should not be getting that many turnovers. That's one thing about John. Harden was carrying our offense, though. In that second quarter, he had some moments where he was just raining threes. We had a 14-0 run capped off by 3 of his threes. Some of them just tough step backs, but for him, those are his bread and butter. So we were up 62-55 at halftime. We outscored them in the second quarter, 28-24. Harden had 23 points of those 62 at halftime. So I was just worried, would he be able to sustain that for the whole game? Or would he run out of gas again? And can we make some open threes? Well, in the third quarter, we saw Derrick Jones Jr. getting out and running early on and making shots in transition to start the quarter. 2 deflections, one from Chris Dunn, one from John Collins, that led to fast breaks. And we went up by 14 points, 72-58. This is when I thought, okay, we've made another push forward to go up by double digits. We should be good. And that was not the case. Couple of misses. Najee Marshall had 5 straight points. Zoo had some lazy moments moving his feet and pick and roll, even in drop coverage, and not reacting to a loose ball for a rebound. And just like that, the Mavs cut it down to 7. So we broke even in the third quarter, 31-31. And then the fourth quarter, we get off to another solid start. Bogdanovic hits 2 straight threes and then has a beautiful dime to Zubac in the pick and roll. And Lively even started hedging on the ball screens with Bogey as the ball handler so he wouldn't come off wide open for threes. But the Mavs just got more bench production in this game. D'Lo went band for band with James in the fourth quarter. The Mavs went on a 17-6 run in the last 5.5 minutes to tie the game at 114. And a lot of them was D'Lo attacking Bogey one-on-one in pick and roll, getting Bogey on the switch and just going at him. And you know how D'Lo can, he's like the one guy in Dallas that actually can play well in pick and roll because everybody else you don't have to go over the screen with. So he had 10 in the fourth quarter. And I thought he was about to win the game for them with that shot at the end. It was not a great shot, but tie game after everything we'd done, D'Lo has a chance to win the game, and we might lose our 7th straight game. So as far as Dallas, they were not allowing him to switch onto James Harden. So we go to overtime. They outscored us 28-21 in the fourth. It got way too stagnant. A lot of James ISO. Again, with Zoo, I don't know if we went to him enough as we should have, but I sound like a broken record when it comes to that stuff. But anyway, and by the way, I already mentioned this, but they updated Kawhi's sprained ankle to a sprained foot. So again, just not being transparent with us for the millionth time about Kawhi injuries. I'm sick and tired of it. But anyway, we go into the overtime session, and I feel like Dallas has all the momentum. Chris Dunn could not make an open three, so he was taken out of the game. We brought Nico in, but we still had a very stagnant offense. I actually thought Zoo was doing well in the second half compared to that Denver game. And it was really all James and Zoo. And it felt like they just were not going to go down in this game, especially James. He had two insane go-ahead threes, but Cooper Flag was able to tie the game. And then James Harden, what was most impressive to me in this game about James was that he still had the wind, the legs to blow by his man late in the game and get downhill. That's something we did not see against Denver, and we've seen him get a little bit gassed later on in second halves this season. But in this game, he was able to get downhill, turn the corner, even late in the game, so much so that we almost had a game winner on a goaltend, but I do think that was the right call. Daniel Gafford did get it on the way up, and so we had to go to a second overtime. And all I can say is James Harden put the cape on. Nico Batum had that nice play off the tip-off where he laid it in, but James Harden straight up put the cape on, and I think Ivica Zubac did a pretty good job helping him, and it was a last year kind of performance from James and Zoo, and you got to admire, especially Harden, just given how much he's had to play without Kawhi already in these 3 years. This was I'm the best player on the court, that's why we won the game kind of thing. It was kind of that kind of game. Like, with all due respect to D'Angelo Russell, they don't have Anthony Davis. He's the best player on the court in this game. Cooper Flag wasn't bad, but James Harden was the best player on the court and is the best player on the court, and he made it happen. And Ivica Zubac had a really solid game, in my opinion, one of his better ones of the season, and we broke our losing streak, the 6-game losing streak, 133-127 against the Dallas Mavericks, the two most disappointing teams in the West so far. But we got it done, and it was a big win to start the road trip, and it's a 7-game road trip that's going to really make or break us. So as far as the lines, I mean, who do I want to talk about from Dallas' side? It's good to see Daniel Gafford back. He had 10 points and 8 rebounds on 4 for 7 shooting and 3 blocks, but he also turned the ball over 3 times. For a center, it's a little whack. They started Brandon Williams, who had 7 points on 2 for 9 shooting and was 0 for 5 from 3 in 18 minutes. Musa Cisse was one of their backups. I didn't know anything about him. He's a rookie from Memphis who went undrafted. I mean, did he get drafted? What the hell? He went to Memphis. I don't see any pick for him. Musa Cisse. Let's take a look at that, because I've never even seen him play until this game. It's an African name if I've ever heard one, though. From Guinea. Okay, nice. Undrafted. Yeah, undrafted. Okay, thought so. So he's getting some burn. 6'11". But off the bench, it was the D'Lo show, really. He had, Klay Thompson had 13 points on 4 for 11 shooting and 4 for 10 from 3. And then D'Angelo Russell had 28 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, but he had 7 turnovers to go along with his 2 steals on 11 for 24 shooting, 0 for 6 from 3, and how about 6 for 9 from the free throw line? So we shot 47%, they shot 44. We shot 31% from 3, they shot 28, and we shot 83% from the free throw line, and they shot 76. So we shot better than them in every statistical category. And then the turnovers, it was a turnover-infested game, but thankfully we had a little bit less than they did. 23 for us, 25 for them. So it was a sloppy game, but we got the job done. And we got to mention the first 40-point triple-double in Clipper history. Pretty wild. It just shows you that, one, our history is not great, but we knew that. But damn. Najee Marshall, by the way, had 28 points on 8 for 19 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3, 9 for 10 from the free throw line to go along with 8 rebounds. And then Cooper Flag got 16 points on 8 for 13 shooting, 5 rebounds, 4 turnovers, 1 steal. On our side of things, we played 10 guys. Brook Lopez had a donut. It was 0 for 1 from the field, and the only shot he shot was a 3. He had a donut and 3 rebounds. He only played 10 minutes. Jordan Miller played 11. He had 2 points. He was 1 for 3 from the field and 0 for 1 from deep. 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers. And then Kobe Sanders was 1 for 5. So between Jordan Miller and Kobe Sanders against Dallas, they were 2 for 8 and 0 for 4 from 3. Kobe Sanders had 3 points on 1 for 5 shooting, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Then Nico had 7 points. He did not shoot well in the Dallas game. 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and made both his free throws. 7 points, 2 boards in 25 minutes of play. Bogey off the bench. He played 37 minutes, and he was needed badly, and he was huge in this game. So he's proven that he's a rotation player for us. We needed that extra bit of shot creation and shot making and three-point shooting. And in this game, he and James Harden had 11 of our 13 made threes. Bogey had 21 points on 8 for 14 shooting, 5 for 8 from deep, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, even though I don't think he was good defensively, and 1 turnover in 37 minutes of play. And then our starters, Chris Dunn had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 5 dimes, 2 steals, and a block, and 1 turnover on 2 for 8 shooting, 1 for 6 from deep, and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. So I mean, he started the season shooting well, but I think, he's going to regress a little bit, and he's, I guess, regressing to the mean. And then Derrick Jones Jr. I already talked about John Collins' 8 points, didn't play great. Derrick Jones Jr. had 15 points, 4 boards, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers on 4 for 10 shooting, 0 for 3 from deep, 7 for 8 from the free throw line. So he's also missing some threes lately, but you still love what he does. The fact that he's scoring in double figures, that's huge. And so Zoo and Harden, 27 points and 11 rebounds for Zoo to go along with 2 assists, 5 turnovers, though, 1 steal, 1 block. And by the way, in 46 minutes, and by the way, if you want to see some of the strategies that teams are employing on Ivica Zubac's post-ups, I did a video breakdown using every single post-up from him this season on Synergy on my members only live. So if you want to be a member to check out exclusive content like that, that is there for you. Then Harden, 41 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists, 40-point triple-double, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and I thought his defensive effort was pretty decent in that game. 3 turnovers on 13 for 25 shooting, 6 for 12 from 3, and 9 for 11 from the free throw line. So we're talking 52, 50, and I can't do that mental math splits. 9 divided by 11. Somebody, the mathematician, can do that real quick? Never mind, I got it for you, 82%. So what a performance by James. Could we take that into Beantown, though, is the question. And so today, we played against the Boston Celtics, of course, my second home of Massachusetts. And let me tell you, we had not a rough game, but it just really felt like it wasn't our game to win. It just felt like it wasn't our game to win from the get-go. And of course, Boston, they've been dealing with their injuries this season. No Jason Tatum for the whole season. So it's really been the Jaylen Brown show. And I was telling people, I'm not too low on the Celtics because I believe that Pritchard can step up. I believe that Jaylen Brown is still a really good player. And so he's been balling this season. And what was amazing about this game is that this fool Jaylen Brown didn't sub out in the entire second half. I was just waiting for him to come out. And all right, when Jaylen Brown comes out, we're going to make our run. He never came out. So to start this game, the Celtics, as far as the matchups, we had Zoo guarding Neemias Queta, John Collins on Derrick White, Chris Dunn on Jaylen Brown, Derrick Jones Jr. on Peyton Pritchard. But honestly, we maybe should have switched that because Jaylen Brown was just shooting over the top of Chris Dunn. And then James Harden on Jordan Walsh. By the way, so I'd never seen Jordan Walsh get rotation minutes. He can really move his feet. And he was being very physical with James. And we've talked about if guys get into us, guys put ball pressure on us, we struggle with that because we're older, slower. It takes us longer to get into our sets. That stuff has been very effective against us. So we saw some of that from Jordan Walsh, who did a really good job on James Harden in the first half. As far as their matchups with us, Queta was guarding Zoo, Jordan Walsh was guarding Harden, Peyton Pritchard was guarding Chris Dunn, Derrick White on Derrick Jones, Jaylen Brown on John Collins. Lopez and Zubac were in drop coverage. Neemias Queta, I couldn't really tell, honestly, in the beginning. But the Celtics were up 9-2 to start. We were 0 for 4 from the field. And it wasn't just 9-2, 21-9. They were hitting threes. Peyton Pritchard did 4 threes. And again, nothing surprises me about what Peyton Pritchard does. If anybody is one of my mods is in here, can you please link the video of my channel where we had his roommate and my good friend from college, Will Johnson, Peyton's friend from college, my friend from high school, Will Johnson, talk about Peyton Pritchard's work ethic when he was a rookie, like what he was like at Oregon, because when you heard him talk about him in that way, you knew that he was going to have a good NBA career. And he's had an incredible NBA career so far, given, he's a 4-year college player. And the way he can just heat up shot making wise, and it's just pure skill in one-on-one game and deep shooting ability. It's been a tough customer in the NBA. It's really, it got him a championship as a backup point guard and the 6th man of the year. So you're starting to see much more from Peyton Pritchard now. They just couldn't miss threes. We were down by 15 in the first quarter, but we went on a nice little 10-0 run with a total bench unit, actually. Brook Lopez was doing some good things, which he hasn't been great this season, but he had a pretty good game today. He had a 3-ball. He had a nice block in the first quarter. And we had Kobe Sanders in again. We had Jordan Miller in again. At one point, it was a total bench of Bogey, Kobe, Jordan, Brook Lopez, and Nico. Without Bradley Beal and Kawhi Leonard, Bogey's your other ball handler, so it's like James has got to get a rest. It's just a matter of if you want to afford James Harden and Ivica Zubac being out at the same time. So after one, we were down 30-37. Just hoping that the Celtics could really cool down because I'm like, dude, they can't keep this up forever. Then in the second quarter, Nico hit 2 threes, so we're starting to see a little more from Nico in terms of making shots. Brook Lopez started hedging on the ball screens with Anthony Simons and Derrick White, so they just weren't pulling up for threes. And honestly, the hedging of the ball screens and coming up to the level of the screen was what changed the game for us largely, because Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown are just coming off screens, getting into their shot, and finally we were making them get rid of the ball. So that was kind of changed the game for us. It made other guys beat us a little bit more, and they, were struggling to. But there was a couple of plays that frustrated me in the second quarter. Bogdanovic was holding onto the ball too long, not making the extra pass, not seeing the floor, or just plain being selfish. Because I think at that level, these guys that are ball handlers, combo guards, especially ones that handle the ball like Bogey, they see the floor. But he just wasn't making the extra pass, and it was really costing us on some possessions, including the one that Nico hit the bank 3. Like, that wasn't a good possession, but Bogey was able to get it to Jordan Miller, like when the shot clock was winding down, and then Nico hit that 3. Kobe Sanders, though, if there's any huge plus I want to take from the game, he looks like an NBA player, and not just an NBA player, an NBA player that can get minutes now. He was crashing the offensive board so well. He just played with a lot of energy, a lot of activity, and he's a good shooter off the catch. Like, we see some good stuff from him. Like, he's fundamentally sound. He's lanky. He's tall. He plays off of 2 feet, doesn't get too sped up. But his ability to make open threes, that's what will get him playing next to these seasoned vets. So there was really good stuff from Kobe Sanders there. I thought Brook Lopez and Nico gave us some really good minutes. Nico had that crazy chase down block. And so we got it down to 5, but then they quickly got it back up to 10. Thought it was Jaylen Brown, Derrick White. Everyone was cooking for them. Luka Garza, he was making threes. So we were down by 18 at one point, and then the bad news happened. Derrick Jones Jr. is going for a loose ball, and Jaylen Brown's mad that he doesn't get a foul call against John Collins, sticks his arm out trying to get the ball, and grabs Derrick Jones Jr.'s knee, and it goes, it moves. He pulls his knee as he's trying to move, and it's, went a certain way, twisted or whatever, hyperextended. It did not look good. DJ was rolling on the floor. He was down for a while. He could hardly put weight on it as he was helped off the floor. I'm worried. Absolutely worried. We're not going to know, and Ty Lue was asked about it after the game, but we're not going to know the exact status of the injury until he gets evaluated. But my goodness. As if things couldn't really get worse right now. Look, Kawhi Leonard should be coming back at the end of this trip or at some point of this trip. He went on the trip. He came on the trip for a reason. But my goodness, to have DJ go down is absolutely, like, we can't really afford it. We might have to go 9 deep or start playing Chris Paul, but that's a lot of guards involved. We might need to go 9 deep and just start Chris Dunn. Who would be the starter without Kawhi, though? I guess Bogey. And then you have a bench of Kobe Sanders, Jordan Miller, Nico, and Brook Lopez. Or you could just go with Nico. You go Nico, John Collins, Chris Dunn, James Harden, and Zoo. And when Kawhi comes back, you slot Nico to the bench. We need Kawhi back so badly. But anyway, this was a game where we just didn't really quit. We were down. We got outscored in the second quarter, 26-19. Another game of us just not being able to make open threes until later. So we were down 49-63. at halftime, 49-63 at halftime. And then in the third quarter, after Peyton Pritchard had his 3-point barrage, by the way, didn't Jordan Miller got ruled out of the game, but I think he was hamstring tightness or something. Like, hopefully he's fine. But man, Peyton Pritchard continued to make threes. It was getting to the point where, like, every time he touched the ball, I was getting worried. And then James Harden, at one point of this game, was just not playing well. Like, for 3 quarters or so, he did not play well. He was not getting, I think he was just fatigued. He was not getting any lift at the rim. He was getting blocked a lot. His shots were short. And I don't even think his approach was necessarily bad. He still tried to drive by guys, still tried to get to the rim, but he was getting blocked. He didn't have much lift. He was leaving a lot of stuff short. And when we started showing on the ball screens with Pritchard, with Jaylen Brown, we cut it down from 24-11. We started getting some stops. You saw Collins with some good moments, rebounding and rim running. So I thought this was definitely one of his better games in a while. He had like a 3-game stretch where he wasn't playing well, the Atlanta game, the Dallas game, and the Denver game. But, I was like, he's a role player. He's going to go through a little bad stretch of games, and now he's going to be back and fine. Thought Zoo did a pretty solid job on both ends, doing a good job contesting, doing a good job with those little push shots and jump hooks, even though I still think, and I sound like a broken record, that we should still go to him more. Like, him having 10 shots in 34 minutes is just not good enough for me. And then Sanders, so many big offensive rebounds that were giving us second chance opportunities. Harden had a huge 3 to end the quarter, and we outscored the Celtics 36-27 in the third. So we cut it down to a 5-point game going into the fourth. And in the fourth, we saw Neemias Queta hedging on Bogey to try to take away his pull-up shot. And when we cut it down to 3. It felt like we were so close. We cut it down to 3, and then we had 2 straight turnovers, one by Bogey and another by Nico. One of them where Nico honestly should have stayed underneath the basket because Bogey was going baseline and he needed someone to pass to. And when he went further away from the basket, that caused Bogey to pass, then forced Bogey to pass. I still believe that when you have the ball in your hands, and you should still take care of it, even if it's not solely your fault for the turnover. But yeah, Bogey threw a, baseline cross court or cross the key pass, and he was intercepted. And then I believe Nico had an offensive foul on a moving screen. And so I was just hoping at this point that Jaylen Brown would check out of the game, but he wouldn't. And it's like, we didn't hard double him, but one-on-one, we were still forcing him to take really tough shots, and he was hitting everything. I mean, the dude was very aggressive, and he was killing us. And just when we thought we were done, Harden had 7 straight points to make it 103-108. He was starting to wake up. We went on a 9-0 run. I thought Zoo and Brook Lopez, their rim protection throughout the course of the game wasn't bad. But every time we made it close, we would like turn it over or miss shots, and they would start hitting. It was like they did a very good job of not letting us tie the game. And then late, Harden had another heater, like late in the game, couple threes. And we actually got to the point where even with the Celtics making their free throws, we still had a chance to tie the game. And what an amazing final look we got with 1.5 seconds, or I believe 1.2 seconds remaining. Long pass from Chris Dunn to Zoo down the court. Zoo, even with fumbling the ball, gets it to Harden for a clean look at a 3, and it's just a little bit shortened to the right. But my goodness, that would have been insane if we had pulled that off. James Harden, I mean, he's carrying the team right now offensively. And I know that's like how he likes to play and all that, but like seriously, he definitely could use Kawhi Leonard. So we lose 121-118. I'm not really mad at it. It's unfortunate we lost Derrick Jones Jr. It's unfortunate that we lost Jordan Miller. But again, Jaylen Brown was the best player on the court for the majority of the game. He just was. 33 points for him, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block in 39 minutes of play. He had 1 turnover. 14 for 33. Love that. Just gunning. Over 30 shots. 14 for 33 from the field. 1 for 7 from deep. Did not feel like that. 4 for 7 from the free throw line. And he had some help. Neemias Queta had 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists to go along with a steal and a block. 6 offensive rebounds. So he played well. He had 6 offensive rebounds and just 3 defensive rebounds. But it was a plus 16 on 7 for 16 shooting. Like, for example, Neemias Queta is shooting 16 shots, but Zubac is shooting 10. It's ridiculous. Whose fault is that? I don't know. Ty, Harden, Zoo. Mostly Zoo. Jordan Walsh. He played 33 minutes, had 6 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block, and no turnovers on 2 for 5 shooting and 0 for 1 from 3 and made both his free throws. Jordan Walsh, he impressed me with his defense. And then you had their 3 leading scorers. I talked about Jaylen Brown. Derrick White at 22 points, 7 boards, 9 dimes, on 2 blocks, and 1 turnover on 7 for 17 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3, and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Peyton Pritchard, 30 points. So they had 2 guys scoring 30 plus. 10 for 16 from the field, 8 for 13 from deep, 3 boards, 2 assists, no turnovers. Wow. See, the Celtics, that's part of why they won the game. Turnovers. We had 14 and they had 6, and they had 27 points off our turnovers. When you take care of the ball like that and you have 2 guys score over 30, but I'm not mad at the effort. You know, it just never felt like our game to win, unfortunately. But we fought. We were valiant. You know, we never really gave up. It's just a tough situation right now without Kawhi, man. We're 1-4 on the road, 4-9 overall. Like they didn't get much bench production. They got, well, besides Luka Garza, they had 16 points off the bench. Luka Garza had 13 points on 5 for 6 shooting and made both his freaking threes. I mean, come on, really? And then so now we read the lines for us. 10-man rotation. Least amount of minutes was Derrick Jones Jr., unfortunately, with 5 points, 2 for 5 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 1 rebound and 2 blocks and 1 turnover before he got hurt. I really hope he's okay, but I think he's definitely going to miss some time. And I truly don't know. We already have 2 rotation players out of the 11. Now we're going to be down to 8. And Chris Paul is not in the rotation. So really 7 of those original 11 that I talked about. So that's why Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller are going to play. We always have the option to bring back Chris Paul, but he doesn't do the same things as DJ. So we're just losing someone that's very important to the team. And our defense has been shit to start the year. And we need more of him. It's very unfortunate. So let's talk about our stat lines. We've lost now 7 of the last 8 games. Our next game is at Philly tomorrow, and they've been playing good basketball so far this season. They're saying that Paul George is questionable to make his season debut. That would be hilarious. But whatever. I think it'd honestly take more away from them, if anything. Getting him, having to work him back into the swing of things. So, yeah, Derrick Jones Jr., unfortunately, I hope he's, get well soon. But, man, Jordan Miller, he played 11 minutes. He had 4 points before his injury, 1 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from deep, made both his free throws, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and turned the ball over once. So we were down to really a 7-man rotation in the second half. Brook Lopez played 14 minutes, but he was a plus 11. 5 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, no turnovers on 1 for 2 shooting, and both his shots were threes and made both his free throws. And his free throw attempts were because of a foul that he got while posting up a smaller guy. So I love to see that. So good game from Brook Lopez, in my opinion. And then we have Bogdanovic. No, Nico. Played 20 minutes, had 6 points on 2 for 4 shooting, and all 4 of his shots were threes, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. I thought he played well this game, and it's nice when you see him shooting efficiently from 3. So getting back to that, which is nice to see. And then we have Kobe Sanders, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of them being offensive, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 4 for 7 shooting, 2 for 3 from deep, and 1 for 1 from the line. I love it. I absolutely love it. Kobe freaking Sanders, dude. Double-figure points, playing good defense, rebounding. It gives me so much hope to see the young guys play well, because it's just like there might be light at the end of the tunnel of this era, and like it just gets us closer to maybe trusting them with a bigger role and pivoting to that next direction that I've been wanting to go to for a couple of years. I know we don't have the picks and stuff, but man, looks like we got somebody good in Kobe Sanders. And then we've got Chris Dunn, who had 6 points, 4 boards, 3 dimes, 1 block, but he turned the ball over 3 times and was 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 3 from deep, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Love Chris Dunn, but it's just like you get your good and your bad with Chris. your amazing defense, his amazing hustle, the intangibles, the shooting and the offense, the shot making can be brutal. And then you had Bogey. Bogey gave you 11 points, another double-figure scoring game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, but could have had more if he was a little bit more unselfish and willing to make that extra pass. 2 turnovers on 4 for 10 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. So again, it was an okay game for Bogey, but we need him, and he was a plus 18, which was the highest on our team. So he's definitely making good things happen out there. And then we have John Collins, who had 17 points to bounce back. 2 rebounds only, though. No turnovers, thankfully, which is huge. On 8 for 13 shooting, 1 for 4 from deep. Didn't shoot any free throws. And then Zubats. We could have gotten more, in my opinion. 16 and 12, which is like standard for him now. 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover on 6 for 10 shooting and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. I just think that that's not enough shots. And they weren't double teaming him like crazy. That was just not enough shots, not enough touches. And again, I sound like a broken record with that. And then you have James Harden, who had somehow, out of nowhere, 37 points. 37 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, so almost a triple-double again. By the way, he's now the franchise leader in Clipper triple-doubles, which is insane. All-time leader. And I know, get it, we're not a great organization. And it's much easier to get triple-doubles now. That's just a statistical fact. And it says a lot about this era, but it also says a lot about how good James Harden is at getting points, rebounds, and assists. Just how good he is at being a triple-double threat. Most triple-doubles in Clipper history. That's an amazing accomplishment. So James Harden is becoming an all-time Clipper. And he had one of the best seasons in franchise history last year. He's been really good for a team that's had their superstar player constantly injured and has kind of put on the cape and been available for the fans. And he's been good with the fans. So we'll talk about where James Harden ranks amongst Clippers after the season, but he's making a case for, being in that conversation with a lot of great all-time Clippers, which is crazy for me to say. Honestly, I couldn't believe that. 9 for 22 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, 14 of 15 from the free throw line. We shot 47% from the field. They shot 45. We shot 40% from 3. They shot 41. And we shot 93% from the free throw line. They shot 76, but they shot 22 more shots than we did. 22. That comes from 20 offensive rebounds to our 10. And again, we're not doing a good enough job boxing out. Outside of Zoo, he's the only one that's getting rebounds consistently. And of course, the turnovers that they did not have. So it is what it is. Back again against Philly tomorrow. But next, we're going to be talking about the Lakers, and I'm going to be getting some water. So stay in the live. Kyle's Takes, you're mod in here. Tell people that I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be talking about the Lakers and the last game I watched coming up. All right, I'm going to get some water, fools. Don't go anywhere. Be back in like 45 seconds. And if you're a Laker fan, get excited because I'm talking about you guys. Clipper fans, if you want your comments to be shown on screen, I need a super chat, or you got to be a member because there's just too many comments now. All right. When I stepped away, there were 69 people in chat. Let's see how many are in here now. 68. Okay. Nice. All right. Laker time. Okay. Some of you Laker fans are going to be disappointed in me. I'm sorry. I'll just be honest about what's going on here. By the way, how about the fact that, for any of my soccer fans out there, how about the fact that Cameroon and Nigeria aren't going to be at the World Cup? Like, that's insane. DR Congo instead. Shout out to DR Congo, man. We haven't seen them in a World Cup in my lifetime. But, like, it just shows you how competitive Africa is. It's like, damn. It's so hard to qualify from there. They have an expanded field, and Nigeria and Cameroon are not playing. I got James Harden top 7. My computer freaking died, dude. That just killed so much momentum. All right. Anyway, yeah. Nah, my computer died, bro. That killed my momentum. Anyway, so here's the thing, right? So, Laker fans, I hold myself to a standard of trying to watch and cover every Laker game. Unfortunately, obviously, Clippers takes priority because that's my favorite team. Unfortunately, I've had such a busy schedule, throughout coaching all my teams, running a business now, that I haven't been able to watch many of them. So I said, if I'm not all caught up, because I'm still trying to watch all their first couple of games. If I said if I'm not caught up, because I've watched every Clipper game this season, and I watched last year was the first season I watched all 82, or was it the second? I think I watched all 82 in 2024. Yeah, I watched all 82 in both of the last 2 seasons. That was the first time I'd ever done that. So for the Lakers, it's hard to watch every single game. So I've done a breakdown on the first 3 games, right? So I've actually watched the fourth game. This was during the World Series, but I'm gonna talk about it because it's relevant to the start of the season for Austin Reeves. So the Lakers were playing against the Blazers, right? So this is Lakers and Blazers I'm talking about. No Braun, no Luka, no Jackson Hayes, no Gabe Vincent, no Marcus Smart. DeAndre Ayton was guarding This was DeAndre Ayton against his former team. DeAndre Ayton was guarding Donovan Clingan. Austin Reeves was on Drew Holiday. Jake LaRavia was starting on Shaedon Sharpe. Rui Hachimura on Tamani Kamara, and Vando on Denny. Then you had Kamara on Austin Reeves, Clingan on Ayton, Drew on Rui, Denny on Vando, and Sharpe on LaRavia. No, not a Nick Smith game. I see the comment. Ayton was in drop coverage. And I thought the Lakers got off to a pretty solid start with Vando. He had 3 really great defensive plays to begin the game. Had a nice stop, interception, and a steal early on in the game. So defensively, he was already making an impact. And then Ahar, I mean, without Luka, the whole offense is Ahar high pick and roll with Ayton. And honestly, like this is coming off that 51-point game he had. Dude, he was looking so shifty and confident. I mean, it was ridiculous. His left hand is so good. He's so good at, putting his defender in jail and drawing fouls and, rejecting screens. He's like feeling super comfortable in the pick and roll now. And when Luka's not playing and LeBron's not playing, you just get to see how much talent Austin Reeves really has. But for the Blazers, they're actually a good matchup for the Lakers on this particular night because they have a lot of point of attack defenders. And, one of them, long athletic guys, is Jeremy Grant, who came in and had 7 points right off the bat. Put back dunk, open 3, jump hook over Jake LaRavia, a reverse dunk after ripping DeAndre Ayton. And this was also another reason I wanted to talk about this game. Bronny had real minutes. Like Bronny actually played in the game. It was the first time I've ever seen Bronny play like actual rotation minutes. And it wasn't great, but like defensively, he's an NBA player. But offensively, he's not. Like defensively, he had a nice steal. He ripped Shaedon Sharpe, but his offense looks shaky. Like he's not an NBA level anything on offense. His ball handling is not great. The game is still very fast for him. I can see him getting caught like in the pick and roll, like when teams are in drop coverage. He's like doesn't know what to do. His jumper's not great. Like his misses are not good misses. He doesn't have much size, and like he's jump passing. Like his passing doesn't look good either. There was one time where he came off the screen, and the defender was in drop coverage, and he pulled up, and Drew Holiday just swatted him from behind like it was nothing. It was like a welcome to the NBA kind of moment, it looked like. And one thing the Blazers did was when Austin Reeves was out, they were just putting a ton of ball pressure on the Lakers, and they were looking like they were struggling to get the ball up the floor without him. Like they looked like because remember, no Marcus Smart or Gabe Vincent either. So they legitimately looked like they were struggling to get the ball up the freaking floor in that first quarter. So in the first quarter, the score was 28-24. Second quarter, they went with Vando at the 5 again, which worked for them in the Sacramento game and the Minnesota game that they won. And I thought the Ayton Austin Reeves pick and roll was picking up serious momentum and steam. You know, a lot of DeAndre Ayton hitting that mid range and that push shot, and then AR. I mean, just the way he was playing in these first couple of games of the season, unbelievable. Now, I haven't even watched after that, so I'm gonna keep giving the commentary. And again, as I said, if you're wondering, like, dude, this was like weeks ago. If I don't catch up, then by game 20, then we'll call it quits, and we're just gonna do as many live Laker games as I can. But I just like watching the first couple of games of a season because it's like that's where you build the identity and your habits right in the beginning. And then you kind of hit a lull after like game 15 to like 45, where it's like that's just like the dog days of the season. And then we get to like 50th game and on, it's like it gets real again. So, but for the Lakers, I like to try to watch as much as I can because I grew up doing that, even though I hope they lose every game with this iteration of their team. But anyway, so the Blazers, they were literally making the Lakers take 7 seconds to get it up the court, especially with Austin Reeves out. And then when Austin Reeves was in and he would give up the ball, they were hard denying him. I thought Bronny in his second stint was struggling. He had 2 turnovers. He stepped on the line, jump pass. Like it felt like Austin Reeves could barely sit. And Jake LaRavia was getting torched in this game. He was not making open threes. He could not stay in front. And then Vando, like we know what he brings to the table defensively, but offensively doesn't make shots. His misses are horrible. His spacing, like sometimes he'll cut when somebody's literally sitting on the block already. The Lakers were 1 for 12 from 3 in the first half. And the Blazers outscored them 29-27 in the second. So they were up by 6, 51-57 going into the second half. And then Ayton got off to a bad start of the court in the third quarter. 3 in the key, some bad fouls. And then Austin Reeves, at one point, they were just like double teaming him in the backcourt. And he was like getting rattled and turning the ball over like it was my AAU team playing against full court press. Like it was... You don't see that in NBA games. And it was just like a testament to like the Lakers had no one that could dribble. So the ball pressure of Portland, and we saw that same ball pressure by Portland against my Clippers, and it was effective. So Portland, I mean, they have guys that will get after you defensively. But Austin Reeves was just single-handedly keeping the Lakers in this game. The Lakers were playing such bad defense because they didn't have Gabe Vincent or Marcus Smart. So they went with a 1-3-1 zone, and that was getting torched. The Blazers' ball pressure caused the Lakers to have 21 turnovers through 3 quarters. And there was one guy on the court, I didn't even know who he was, that was playing on the Lakers when Austin Reeves was out. And then Drew Holiday caught fire. He had 5 straight points to end the third. He was starting to hit contested jumpers, so it was over after that. Lakers had too many turnovers, and quite frankly, just not enough outside of Austin Reeves. Because they didn't even, like Gabe Vincent and Marcus Smart were actually very good in that Sacramento win. It wasn't just Austin Reeves. This was legit just Austin Reeves. And I don't think Ayton was as good, but we'll read the lines for now. Blazers outscored the Lakers 32-26 in the third and 33-31 in the fourth of that game. That was the Freddie Freeman night, where game 3 of the World Series, where Freeman hit the home run to win the game. For the Blazers, I mean, they played a good amount of guys, but really a 10-man rotation. Young Hansen, I really like Young Hansen, but he still is just like bricking. He had 1 point. He was 0 for 3, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 1 turnover. That was it. And then Caleb Love, the UCLA killer from North Carolina. I didn't even know he was in the league. 5 points on 2 for 10 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3. Remember, he transferred to Arizona. He's a rookie now. Wow. 2 for 10 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. 5 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, no turnovers in 11 minutes. And then Blake Wesley. He's a good defender, Blake Wesley. 4 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 board, 3 assists, 1 turnover in 16 minutes. Blake Wesley was the 25th pick in the draft in the 2022 draft out of Notre Dame for the Spurs. And then we have Chris Murray, who had 2 points on 1 for 5 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, 5 boards, 2 steals. Of course, that's Keegan Murray's brother. And then Donovan Clingan had 16 and 14 as a starter, 16 and 14 to go along with 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. 7 of those 14 rebounds were offensive rebounds, 2 turnovers on 8 for 12 shooting, and 3 of his 4 misses were 3. So he was 8 for 9 from 2. He had a really solid game. And he's a very solid player. Donovan Clingan, second-year man out of UConn, of course, the national champion, 7th overall pick last year, and part of the reason why they were okay giving up DeAndre Ayton. And now, by the way, there's 53 people in here. Are these all Laker fans in here? If you're a Laker fan, throw something in the comments. I appreciate this. I really do, because it's like I'm talking about games that happened weeks ago, but I'm just trying to cover as many Laker games as I can so you guys can just kind of get a feel of what I'm thinking about the team. But anyway, and then you had Jeremy Grant, who had a really good game off the bench and was really good in these first 4 games to start the season. Because I watched the opening game against the Wolves and he was good. 22 points, 3 boards, 3 dimes, 3 steals and a block, 2 turnovers on 7 for 13 shooting, 3 for 7 from deep, and 5 for 5 from the free throw line off the bench. So really solid stuff from Jeremy Grant. All in all, with those guys, you got 34 points out of the Blazer bench, and you only got 18 points out of the Laker bench. And that was pretty much the difference in the game. Because they just had their normal guys outside of Scoot Henderson, who's hurt, obviously. And then you had Toumani Camara, who had 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and 2 turnovers on 2 for 7 shooting and 0 for 3 from deep. But he guards the best players in the other team, and he always makes an impact. His ball denial, his long arms, and that dude can fucking guard. And then you had Shaedon Sharpe, who had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, but 5 turnovers. And I can't lie, I have not been too impressed with Shaedon Sharpe so far this season. I think his shot selection is very questionable, and his decision-making is questionable. 6 for 16 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And then the 2 players of the game, Deni Avdija, what a start to the season he's gotten off to. 25 points. He's so much more confident one-on-one. His defense is good too, and he can really get to the basket. And his shot's looking better too. He felt like he was going to make every 3 he shot in this game. 25 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 3 turnovers on 8 for 17 shooting, 5 for 8 from 3, and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He has some like Luka-esque moves sometimes, Deni Avdija. And then Drew Holiday. My goodness, this was a really good game for him. 24 points, 5 boards, 6 dimes, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 2 turnovers on 10 for 15 shooting and 4 for 7 from 3 in 30 minutes. He was a plus 19. Donovan Clingan and Shaedon Sharpe were plus 21. But yeah, Drew Holiday was a beast. He was my player of the game in this one. And then for the Lakers, Chris Mannon. Like, who the fuck is Chris Mannon? Rookie from Vanderbilt. He wasn't even drafted, was he? Yeah, I don't even think it was. And those are the only 2 games of the season he played so far, was the Sacramento game and the Blazers game. So it's not even relevant. So I'm not even going to read his stat line. He had a donut across the board except for 1 rebound. And he played 4 minutes and was a plus 3. And then Christian Coloco, he also played 3 minutes, had a donut, only 1 rebound. That was the only statistical category he registered. And then Nick Smith Jr. did not see much good stuff from him in this game. 2 points, 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers. It just didn't look like an NBA player in the game, quite frankly. Although that take might age poorly based on what I've heard. It's probably aged poorly based on what I've heard that he's been doing. So we'll check that out soon. Bronny James, donut, 3 rebounds, 3 dimes, 1 steal, 1 block. So that sounds good, but 3 turnovers on 0 for 2 shooting in 20 minutes of play. I mean, it's good to see Bronny play. That's all I'll say. Dalton Connect. I'm not too impressed with Dalton Connect. When his shot's not falling, he's not a great NBA player. And his shot is not falling a lot, at least these first 4 games. He had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block, 2 turnovers on 5 for 13 shooting and 2 for 8 from 3. The Lakers shot 47% from the field in this game. The Blazers shot 46, but the Blazers shot 17 more shots than the Lakers. And then the Lakers were 26% from 3, 7 for 27. The Blazers were 14 for 43, 33%, so they weren't great either. And the Lakers shot 11 more free throws, though. 21 for 26, which is 81%. Shout out Kobe. And the Blazers were 14 for 15 from the free throw line, 93%. For the starters for the Lakers, you had Jake LaRavia, who had 3 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover on 1 for 6 shooting, 0 for 3 from deep, and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. You're just going to need more. In a game that all these guys are at, you're going to need more. And defensively, he was just bad. Just getting blown by. Jared Vanderbilt, he actually ended up with 14 points and 8 rebounds and 3 assists in this game to go along with 3 steals and just 1 turnover on 6 for 11 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the foul line. But the thing with Vando is that sounds all good, but it doesn't take into account how many possessions he's making harder with his lack of spacing and just lack of his ability to do much with the ball in his hands at all. Rui Hachimura, he's off to a great start this season, these first 4 games. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Did turn the ball over 3 times, which is too much for him. Shot 50% from the field, 6 for 12, 40% from 3, 2 for 5, and 50% from the free throw line, so that's not good, 2 for 4. And then you have Ayton, who had 16, 8, and 2, which, again, with all those guys out, you're going to need more. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, though. Thought he was good in the first half and not good enough in the second. You still got to feed the ball to him a little bit more, in my opinion, than just, especially when Reeves is out of the game. He didn't have 1 free throw attempt. So you got to I think you got to stagger Ayton and Reeves until Luka comes back and then run your offense through Ayton when Reeves is out. And then Reeves, 92 points in these last 2 games. He's been going crazy. This is the best stretch of his career. 41 points. I know it's not a real stretch because it's only been 4 games, but he's playing out of his mind. 41 points, 13 for 22 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and 12 for 14 from the free throw line. That 41 points is along with 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, but they got him to turn the ball over 8 times, and the Lakers turned the ball over 25 times, which accounted for 28 Blazer points. So, I mean, look, it's a lot of injuries for the Lakers, man. It's a lot of injuries. But anyway, that's it for me in this one, guys. We're going over the hour mark. I've talked about 4 different games. Clippers, Lakers, Blazers, Clippers, Mavs, Clippers, Nuggets, and Clippers, Celtics. Tomorrow night, we'll be live after Clippers and 76ers, and hopefully I can give you a post game of the Lakers versus Timberwolves. Peace, and have a great night.